It's Tuesday, August 20, 2024. This is CVM News at noon. I'm Nika Lewis. Many customers are feeling the impact of a hike in their electricity bills this month. Some even took to social media with their concerns. But the Jamaica Public Service company JPS says this is due to an increase in the cost of their resources. Speaking on Lead Story yesterday, Media and Public Relations Manager Audrey Williams explained how these costs will be rebalanced in upcoming bills.
Naturally, people will want to know, I would too, if I was your average customer, why am I seeing an increase in my bill at this time? The primary reason for that is that there has been an increase in the fuel charge. Now, why has there been an increase in the fuel charge? A little bit before the arrival of Hurricane Beryl, one of our main suppliers of fuel, so just to take us back a step, liquefied natural gas is a great component of our energy mix. And we had decided to diversify. That's a 0J decision to diversify, and we all agree to it because diversification makes it better in terms of costing. Now, that liquefied natural gas was not available to us a little bit prior to Beryl and after because the suppliers in Fortress Energy had taken the facilities offline to prevent any damage due to the hurricane. So instead of our liquefied natural gas, we would have had to use the backup fuel, which is way more expensive, automotive diesel oil, ADO. So ADO, being a much more expensive fuel, will show up as a more expensive cost that is passed on to the customers. I can understand customers being upset, and especially the timing, it's really not good timing at all. So we understand the outrage, etc., because the last thing people need is an increased bill. So we do understand that. In terms of estimates, the next reading that you get, the next actual reading, we use that now to determine if you were overestimated, then that is deducted from the next actual reading. If you were underestimated, then the balance will appear on the next actual reading. So it does balance out in the next actual bill that you get, the next actual reading that you get.
The People's National Party is calling on the board of the Cannabis Licensing Authority, CLA, to resign, accusing the agency of mismanagement, especially regarding its staff. The agency falls under the Ministry of Industry, Investment and Commerce. The call for resignation comes from opposition spokesperson on investment, trade and global logistics, Anthony Hilton.
It is not credible that the board of the Cannabis Licensing Authority was unaware of the development with respect to the personnel at the CLA over a long period of time. This is so because of the high attrition rate at the agency, which should be an obvious signal to any alert board that something is wrong at the agency. Secondly, the decision by the management to suspend or disband the Human Resource Executive Committee created the conditions whereby the continuation of malfeasance, of mismanagement by rewarding or putting in place persons that are unqualified to serve in critical position in a critical agency is itself unforgivable. But the board is much more culpable. The board has a responsibility to govern and to monitor the activities of the agency, particularly an agency with law enforcement responsibility.
The Factories Corporation of Jamaica's construction of several urban centres island-wide forms a part of the government's goal to improve Jamaica's infrastructural development landscape. Noting that it will take some time, however, the Prime Minister is assuring Jamaicans that the development must be done thoroughly. Trisha Gay Kelly digs deeper into the details.
For years, Jamaicans have suffered with infrastructure and the rate of development. The government has in recent years highlighted its desire to improve the country's infrastructure, specifically roads. St. Thomas was a beneficiary of this improvement as the parish witnessed Jamaica's first ever urban centre. And with another centre now going to Portland, Prime Minister Andrew Holness says there are plans to begin a road project there as well.
What is different now is that the government has made a massive investment to improve 147 kilometers of road linking Port Antonio directly to Kingston. So from Harbour View, come all the way around, you're going to have the best quality road.
He explains, however, that the government's infrastructural plan is not a hurried process.
We are not just doing one little development and expect that one little development to spark and be the catalyst for new development. No, we have a well thought out, coordinated plan backed by the resources to sustain long-term infrastructure investment without interruption.
This investment will come in various forms. FCJ Chairman Littleton Shirley says the company has many upcoming projects.
I must admit that while attention is now being placed on this project, our eyes are also focused on two other developments to commence shortly. They are the Nuggerhead Integrated Business Center in Portmore, that is Project 3.0, and the Brownbrook Urban Center Project 4.0.
But Jamaicans have never been the easiest of people to convince, and so the Prime Minister is working even harder to ensure these promises are fulfilled.
But it is hard to communicate that to someone who for 50 years has experienced deterioration in their infrastructure. My challenge is to convince people that the government is doing the correct thing in making the infrastructure development. And the only time that they're going to be convinced is when they see it happen.
Trisha Gay Kelly, CVM News.
More CVM News at noon after this break.
Planning a party? We've got you covered. With over 200 different types of candies and chocolates, you're sure to find your favorite here. Create your own ice cream flavor by mixing in your favorite toppings or enjoy our delicious milkshakes, blizzards, dip cones, and Belgian waffle ice cream sandwich sundaes. Visit Candy Crate at Progressive Plaza Barbican and upstairs Fontana Waterloo. Candy Crate, making every moment sweeter.
Well, that was easy, getting what you want. Of course, you can find appliances, electronics, furniture, homeware that you need at unbeatable prices, up to 50% off. Clearance in every store as low as $2,999 and free 1-year warranty on all products. Shop now and pay no cash until April 2023 on 18 to 48 months. Plus free gifts and extra savings on credits only at Quartz, bringing value home. Promotion runs December 28 to January 31, 2023. Conditions apply.
Welcome back. Opposition spokesman on energy Philip Polwell has issued a word of caution to the Jamaica Public Service Company ahead of another election cycle. He says the company has been derelict in its duties of maintaining its infrastructure and adequately preparing for eventualities like Hurricane Beryl. The politician adds, under a PNP government, JPS must either shape up or stand to lose big.
We are far more caring of our people, and the JPS will have to reform itself if it's going to maintain a license after 2027.
The former energy minister insists under a PNP government, the JPS would also be under strict supervision to ensure maintenance, among other public duties, are properly carried out. He told supporters in Central St. Mary's Sunday that the power company has neglected aspects of its duties, especially ahead of Hurricane Beryl.
When I looked around and saw the light posts, so many of them shattered, broken in the middle of the road, I have to ask myself the question, why so many light posts came down? Many of them were rotting. Many of them were not being maintained properly. And it goes to show that the regulation that now exists is not working, because the JPS must be made to maintain their infrastructure better. There was not enough preparation for the hurricane. Too many trees were surrounding the lines. And the people in St. Elizabeth are suffering. That can't happen under our watch.
Paul Well is adamant the Andrew Holness administration is not serious about the needs of the poor, citing the enormous electricity bills many Jamaicans are now struggling to pay.
This government knows that the license that the JPS has comes to an end in 2.5 years' time. But I don't base this, because they should be using the time now to plan ahead, to start to negotiate with JPS, because it cannot be business as usual. Last week, I went to St. Elizabeth in the aftermath of Hurricane Beryl, and I was amazed to see what has happened to the JPS infrastructure in St. Elizabeth.
He assures that if the opposition becomes the government led by Mark Golding, a first priority will be reducing energy costs through solar power.
We want each of you to have the power in your own hands, so you can put up your own solar system on your roof, and you can say to JPS, if you're charging me 40 cents, I will take things into my hand and put power upon my roof and be able to generate it at less than half the price. You are going to have the power, no longer JPS. They will have to come to you and beg you to come back.
Nika Lewis, CVM News. Now to a major developing story. 5 men, all over 40, have been charged in relation to a drug bust in Havendale, St. Andrew, where authorities seized $12 billion worth of illegal substance. Britannia Witter has more.
On Monday, DCP Fitz Bailey announced that 5 men have been formally charged following a major drug bust in Havendale, St. Andrew. The operation, which occurred on August 8, resulted in the seizure of cocaine valued at approximately 12 billion Jamaican dollars. The men, identified as 57-year-old Clive Roy Davis, 58-year-old Colin Ricketts, 51-year-old George Sterling, 41-year-old Clayton Peart, and 72-year-old Junior Aldane, will face multiple charges.
The accused, who have been interviewed in the presence of their lawyers, remain in police custody after they were charged on Friday, August 16, 2024, for possession of cocaine, dealing in cocaine, trafficking in cocaine, and conspiracy.
Authorities from the Firearms and Narcotics Investigation Division are continuing their probe to uncover international links.
Regional and international partners are continuing investigation into this matter and are actively pursuing other leads to further dismantle other criminal networks.
Law enforcement officials have emphasized their commitment to combating crime, stating that they have made significant progress since the start of the year.
The Firearms and Narcotics Investigation Division continues to make significant impact on illicit firearms and drug trafficking. Since the start of 2024, the division's interdiction efforts have resulted in the seizure of 86 illegal firearms, 1,154 rounds of ammunition, 20,074 kilograms of ganja, approximately 67 kilograms of cocaine, with an estimated street value of just over $2 million. This figure does not include the most recent cocaine bust.
DCP Bailey says 168 people of different nationalities have